bottom of the barrel.
Not much, man. You know, still on location, about to get this thing done. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't understand any of that.
It's okay. I think you can figure out. So, you know, you've known me long enough.
That's true.
Hey, hey, bastard.
What are we going to talk about today?
I don't know. I'm feeling like there's gonna be some funny, maybe. Maybe we're not funny, but we're gonna talk about funny people.
Okay.
Did we want to delve into this Jerry Lewis comment?
Yeah, that was interesting because it's funny that just in the last couple hours we've seen all different people talking about women in comedy, and I guess one of the things that brought that up was Jerry Lewis is not a fan of women doing comedy. I wasn't sure if Jerry Lewis is even alive today.
I gotta be honest with you. I thought I'm not being funny, folks. When he said, "Did you hear what Jerry Lewis said?" And I was thinking, from the grave?
Like, what a workout. What is the quote? Do you have it up there?
Well, the headline says, Jerry Lewis, female comedians. Lewis thinks female comedians aren't funny. Says women doing comedy bothers me. And apparently there may be a video that we can play for you. Hold on, folks. But I guess he had a press conference. He was asked by a reporter about his opinion on women doing broad comedy. And, you know, I guess this is a subgenre in which...
So is it more just the broad comedy?
I don't know. That's just what's highlighted here. But he's said before that way before today, that he had said that he didn't think women were funny.
Yeah. So
I'm not surprised that he's saying again. I think he's probably, at this point, you know, trying to clarify and probably a little backtracking to make it soften the blow, it seems like to me, maybe. Or maybe he just doesn't give a shit.
Well, the original quote, I think it was in the original interview, the recent one, was he said something along the lines of, it was almost seemed like a real...
Like a backhanded
backhanded compliment, because it was like, I feel uncomfortable with women doing comedy because it's beneath them. Like, he doesn't, you could get into, like, it's not their place argument. Yeah. But, I don't know.
There's another quote for you. You can go ahead and hit that one.
I cannot sit and watch a lady diminish her qualities.
And that...
That's interesting.
Yeah,
like, it's almost a compliment, but it's
really not.
But not really. So, are there any women comics that stick out to you? I mean,
I think there's quite a few that you know. I think that's the thing too, where people jump on, and I know some people that just like women aren't funny. I'm like, well, have you ever just sat down and listened to them, or do you just go with what everyone else is saying? And I think to me, like I think Sarah Silverman's funny. I like Amy Schumer. And my mind is, of course, drawn. Every time we do this, my mind goes blank. And there's a comedian that's in my head, and I'm struggling to think of her name. But, is there any other ones that you're...
Well, it's weird to even bring it up in a way. I mean, we're all for, like, lists and, what movie would you see, here or there, or what comic. And I get the whole female comic list thing, but at the same time, it almost seems like kind of belittling the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Because why do it shouldn't matter? Yeah, why do we even have to separate them? Locally around Greensboro, there's of course not as many female comics, but there's a couple that are like among the funniest people I've seen in Greensboro. And I can only think of one of their names, and the other ones I'm drawing a blank.
I don't know why. Because I like her comedy so much. She does the voices. I know I told you she was in my list of comedians I want to see. Mm-hmm. And I can't, I see her face and I can't. Yeah. And I'm keep hoping I'm going to stumble across it.
A local girl, I believe it's Jenny Chalikian, is really hilarious. There's another girl I can picture, and I can't think of her name. Michelle McClay is over in Raleigh, Carborough area, I think. She's really funny. But, again, it just seems weird to even... And I think why people are like, oh, many women aren't funny is because there's just not as many doing it.
And that's one I always forget. I like Wanda Sykes. I think she's really hilarious.
Growing up, I was a huge Janine Garofalo fan.
I like her as well. I'm still blanking on this one name. It makes me so angry because I like her so much, and I can't.
I think it's just. I think that's what it is. It's just there's not as many. I think there's more. It seems like there's more now than ever, or at least more. I think it's just numbers. There's more women doing it now than ever. Before it never. When I was growing up, there only seemed like there were a few. But I just think it's a numbers game for whatever reason. It'll be interesting to know why more girls don't get into comedy. Do they have more self-esteem than guys? Because it seems like the people with low self-esteem are the ones getting into comedy, which is kind of odd.
I just think it's probably more now. Well, it's more welcoming to women than it was before because it was just always women are funny. But you're seeing so many women, female comedians having success now.
Yeah.
So it's cool because more women are getting involved. They're having specials just for women. Like what's her name? The lady from
the one that plays Meredith for The Office.
Oh, really?
She has her own special. It's on like the TV Guide channel. It's like stand up in stilettos, and so it's all female comedians, and they've had some interesting people on that. So I think that you're seeing more and more. They're encouraging female comedians to get into the game. And I'm going on the seat there. It's the problem. We're talking about earlier. Sorry, folks.
Okay.
Well, inside talking going on. I struggle to find this name. That's another one.
That.
I'm really bad with names, folks, so bear with me. I recognize faces.
Well, I find while you're looking for that, I find it interesting something you were telling me about. So Joan Rivers that was saying she would wear baggy clothes and stuff on purpose.
No. Joan Rivers was the one. She would wear very little makeup. She would still wear dresses and stuff early on, and she'd wear very little makeup, and even said she would either tape her breasts back so it made her look flat-chested, and or wear things that made her look flat-chested because she felt like that way she wouldn't intimidate other women that come in, or, again, that whole thing with the one club promoter. I can't remember the comedian they told that, and I'll backtrack and tell you that story. There was a female comedian. She's really cute, and if I can find her name too, I'll pull it up. But she's funny, and she went up and she completely bombed, and she had a good act, and like the club promoter had loved her act, and she came off stage, a little distraught. No, not distraught, but hurt because she thought that she had something solid, and he's like, well, here's what you're gonna need to do, because he said you're beautiful, and a lot of people are intimidated by that. They don't want to come to a comedy club and hear a beautiful person complain about their problems. So he said, why don't you, when you come in, the way you came in tonight was the way you should go up on stage. And she came in with no makeup on, a hoodie, and she literally had the hoodie up on her head, jeans. And he's like, if you go up and tell those same jokes in that outfit, he's like, the crowd will not only be with you, they feel like you're one of them.
Yeah, it's really better.
So the next time she goes up, kills, same jokes, everything, kills. And it was just that one piece of advice, which is so bizarre. Why would anyone give a shit? But
Oh, I know, because nobody laughs at my stuff because I'm so handsome.
Oh my god.
And, that's the cross I have to bear.
There's two more, Nikki Glazer and April Macy. I think they're funny. But they're not the ones I was looking for. But it's just like it's just like anything. They're out there. You gotta find them. Maria Bannifer, she's the one.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't listen. She did the joke about sex hole. Typically the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when people say women aren't funny, I'm like, well, which women are you talking about?
And I have a lot of respect for Jerry Lewis, obviously, for the fundraising stuff he did for years. But, come on, Jerry.
Yeah,
it's like...
it's a cop-out. I don't know, maybe...
You did... Your brand of comedy was not always, the most highbrow or... So...
I don't know. I don't get it, man. I don't even.
What? I don't know. I just feel like what does it make him feel better by making that statement?
I feel that And this is a cop out because, well, I don't really mean it that it's okay. Or it's more okay because he's old. But it seems like lately, celebrities, the older they get,
The more bitter.
or I don't know, there's something to like, oh, I'm just gonna say what I believe now, and yeah, it's some bitterness, or I don't know.
Well,
What it is.
think about as much as we both like Chris Rock.
Mhm.
Chris Rock was like, I don't think there's any good young comedians coming up, and I can't say that I can sit back and name some, but I guarantee if I was more in that scene, I could like rattle off a ton of people.
Yeah, I think Don Herrera said it.
Yeah.
There's more good ones now than ever.
And he's like, one of the reasons why I like Dom, you rarely hear comedians say, and he tells like Joe Rogan and Bill Burr and those guys that their generation of comedians he thought was like one of the best groups. Like, and Dom Herrera came up with guys like Eddie Murphy, Jerry Seinfeld, those guys, and he thinks that the guys that came up with Bill Burr, Chris Rock, David Spade, all those guys, he thinks that's a better group.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, think about that. It would be so easy for him to say, I came up with the best.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who would find me another comedian that would say that another group was better than the group I came up with?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know. Some people, egos, man. I don't get them. So, is there anything else we want to talk about?
What else?
And music, man, you want to be a music guy? Anything that's a couple off for you? So they don't matter anymore.
No, I have friends that are, but it's not my cup of tea.
That honestly sucks. Yeah, so I don't care. You can find me there anymore. Ain't that way to find. What? Well, no, I don't even want to say that. Yeah, this is too easy.
So, Mariah Carey had wardrobe malfunction on Good Morning America today.
Really?
Apparently, I saw a little bit of the clip. I guess her dress was too tight, couldn't contain certain aspects.
What exactly happened? Don't leave anything out.
I guess I didn't see. I just saw her holding stuff together, but apparently it was a little too tight.
What? This seems to happen a lot more often than it used to.
It does.
Is it just because there's more media now? I don't think so. I think we always had Good Morning America pretty much.
Yeah, well, it's just like, what's going to get you a faster headline more than a wardrobe malfunction?
I mean, I think Eva Longoria just had one at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah, she did.
Let's
Let's see. Here we go.
Some Firewire act or whatever clothes you have to fit into.
And she cursed.
That's quality.
Let's see if we can get audio of that, folks. We're gonna pull that up for you. Give you a little listen, a little take. Too bad you can't see the video. Well, as that's loading, we'll keep on talking. Yeah, it's funny, man. You hear about more wardrobe malfunctions nowadays. I mean, it makes you wonder.
It's probably not. Well, this audio. Good Morning America.
Apparently, her dress popped, and they're holding up a sheet around her right before her song is playing. And see what I mean. So she's keeping her arms together to keep the goodies contained.
So what about the fact that of all people that shouldn't have to lip sync,
Which is disturbing.
Someone with an amazing voice.
Mariah Carey, and I know she doesn't care what I think, but when she first came out, I was really impressed, and I just think have you heard her new song?
And I don't like it.
To me, it just sounds like they could have written it in 5 minutes. Probably did.
Anything Mariah Carey's done after 1999, there's like one song that she's made since then that I like. And I own, if I'm not mistaken, first 4 or 5 albums, and I love them. Mm-hmm. Anything after that, garbage.
Mariah, what happened to you?
And Fame Monster, Hollywood. Really, man, makes people crazy.
I'll give it to Kid Rock for calling him out on lip syncing off of that award show.
For real, that's just getting out of control. I don't know. You know what? You want to be a dancer? Then be a dancer. Don't fucking. I don't know. I don't understand how you can call yourself an artist if you can't sing live. And I know there's 100 million excuses out there, and everybody will defend their favorite entertainer or what have you. But you make an album. you tell everyone how much work you put into it, and then you want to dance on the stage and move your lips. That's bullshit. Let's be honest. I want to see you. I want to see you grab the mic and sing.
Well, I love Adele right now.
How can you not?
I mean, the last Grammy Awards show she was on, it just seemed like such a huge. Like there was Adele, and then in a lot of ways there was everybody else. And I don't even own any of her music.
I don't either.
I mean, I hear it a lot, and I always like to hear it. But she's just me, so much more talented than most people.
And that's how I used to feel about Mariah Carey, because when she performed in the past,
when Adele has to start lip syncing, I'm going to be really it's going to be depressing.
What else we got?
I don't know. What's that? Hangover 3?
I mean, I'm sure it's wonderful.
What other sequels have you been more disappointed by? I can't think. I love the first Hangover. The second Hangover, I came out of there just angry.
I'd put it up there with The Matrix. Like, I had no interest in going to see The Matrix. My roommate at the time couldn't wait to see it, and I went, and I ended up really liking the first movie, and so I got a little excited for the next movie, and it sucked, and I still hate it. So I mean that's one movie I know. I'm trying to think.
And I know people that really like it, and as long as that keeps happening, they're going to keep making movies that are exactly like the first movie, except not funny.
That one always sticks out to me because I really enjoyed the first one, and just from the second one, it was like, ugh. And that's the way I felt about The Hangover. And The Hangover, the thing that bothered me was that you and your wife both warned me, and I was still like, I gotta know for myself. I didn't go to the theater. I waited until it came out on HBO, and I said, I'm watching this thing. Maybe it's not as bad as everyone has told me. Maybe there's some hidden gems in there. I had to literally watch this movie in 3 segments. And I kept asking myself each time when I started it again, why am I even bothering? But, I'd already invested a little time into it, so I wanted to know. And what I found out was this is a hot pile of stinking garbage. Can you think of any other ones?
Man, Problem Child 2 was just... See, I was lost because I didn't see Problem Child 1.
It's the same movie.
Same with Home Alone 2, I was lost. I didn't see Home Alone.
Come on.
Sometimes there's movies you hope that they don't make a sequel to. Do you feel like that ever?
Oh yeah, I was hoping. Of course. Why am I drawing a blank all the time? Do you have anyone that thanks? Even though I've never done drugs. Oh, a movie we talked about that you're a huge fan of, and I finally got to see because you kept talking about it, was Drive. I hope they don't make a sequel of that movie.
And they were talking for a while about making a sequel. I was really conflicted by it, but mostly I was like, I really hope they don't make one.
Another movie,
and they decided they won't, which
that makes me happy. There's another movie that I think is really good, very underrated, and I really hope they don't make a sequel. Is The Source Code? I think you should see it. I think you'd like it.
Who's on that?
Jake Gyllenhaal and the other actress that she's been in other stuff but I can't remember. And then no, the other actress is the one that was in Up in the Air. She has the weird name.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
I do like her. But like you said before, this is the worst Ebert and Roman.
It's such a bad with names. And it
would help if we ever watched the same movie.
No, but there's another actress in there that's been on a few other things, and you'd be like, oh, that person. Can you think of any other movies?
I want to say for a while, people were hoping they'd make a sequel to The Big Lebowski.
No.
And I think that would ruin it.
It's fine the way it is.
And I like the fact that the Coen brothers have never made a sequel to any of their movies. Raising Arizona, I mean, they could have found a way to make a sequel to that, but it would have ruined it.
Oh yeah, Scott Bakula was in it.
He's only a voice. And I still can't say her name. The other one was Michelle Monaghan.
Okay.
She's been in a few other films. She was in Due Date. Ugh. Did you ever see that?
No.
Disappointing, man.
Do you have high expectations for New Day?
No, but I thought, Robert Downey Jr. has got Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, that one.
And I was like, man, it could have potential. And it was just, a hot pile of garbage. And I haven't met anyone yet that's like, oh, I thought it was great.
It's funny how, opinions, there are people listening who are like, how dare you talk about Hangover 2? But it's always funny to me how I can watch something and think, that is the worst thing ever.
That's the movie I was thinking about. She was in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Okay.
Did you ever see that?
Who else is in that?
Robert Downey Jr. Val Kilmer.
I don't think I saw that.
Oh, dude. You're killing me, man. Yeah. You're killing this podcast. We can never talk about movies because
what was it about?
I'm not going to ruin it for everyone. Oh, man. I'm so disappointed.
Words hurt, Dwayne.
It is. He's apparently in the Heartbreak Kid. I won't hold that against it. So what else, man? Come on, man. You got no energy. You're dying on me. What are you trying? Coffee. You're going silent on me. I'm flapping my gums. I don't stop. Keep moving. I keep talking. I stop. Well, one of us has got to be that guy. I'm that guy.
Yep.
Oh
What happened? Something happened over there.
I don't know, man. You're dying on me. Come on, let's talk. What do you want to talk about? It's a podcast. We can't get people to tune in and listen to us talk shit. I ain't talk shit all day if you want to. Come on, man. What you got?
You're not helping.
I'm trying. Disgusting. All this dead air. So much dead air. I'm not going to stop because there might be some good stuff.
You just started
Shaking my butt. From that, us rambling, we're going to hit you with another topic. I guess we're going to talk about there's some actors that you come across that just rub you the wrong way, and it kind of ruins a movie for you. Or, you see a movie comes out, a trailer comes out, and you see that, say, there's an actor you don't like, and they're in the movie. You're like, I know I won't like that movie. Even though the subject matter looks kind of good, but you kind of stay away from it because of how you feel about that actor. I was just mentioning to Matt that the movie The Lincoln Lawyer was a movie for me that where I saw that Matthew McConaughey was in it, and I was like, uh-oh. But watching the trailer, I was like, that looks kind of interesting, but I'm kind of scared that it's gonna suck because there are a lot of his movies that I don't like. And when I watched it and we actually saw it together, I came away impressed by it. I'm like, wow, I would have missed out on something good just because of my feelings about that actor. So do you have any? And that's just an example. And I don't even hate Matthew McConaughey. Some of his movies are just like, ugh.
Well, that's the thing with him is after he kind of hit it big and made his first few movies were fairly decent, and then after that he went on this run. It was pretty much comedic of just stupid romantic comedies where he's just always had his shirt off the whole time. And he seemed like a complete sellout. But what's interesting about him is I think something clicked recently, or he realized I need to start making good movies again. Because the last 2 or 3 movies he's done have actually all been kind of interesting. And he seems like he cares about the quality of work all of a sudden. I don't know where it came from. I don't know. He hasn't been married too long. Maybe his wife told him, look.
Maybe The Lincoln Lawyer kind of juiced him.
Yeah, because he's not a bad actor.
No. Like I said, it wasn't a hatred of him. There are actors that I really just don't care for. But his past movies didn't really do it for me.
I think for me, early on, I didn't get why people like Colin Farrell.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'd heard, he's in this war movie, he's really good, or military movie, whatever. And I'd see these films, I don't get it. I'm not even sure he's that good. And then I heard he was in The New World, which is by Terrence Malick again, that guy that pretty much only I like. But
I can't say whether I like him or not. I haven't seen any of his movies.
Yeah, well, that's 99% of the world probably. But he was in that, and I was like, oh, Malick. And they say Colin Farrell, and I crap.
Doesn't say that's exactly what I'm talking about. It goes from something you were interested in just by the name of that director, and then the mention of the actor may have pause and made you wait to see this movie.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's true of that director's films in general. But I mean, Colin Farrell was good in that film. I've seen him in stuff since then. What's that one with Jeff Bridges, like Broken Heart, or the country singers?
Oh, Crazy Heart. Yeah, he was great in that.
Yeah, he can act in that. I mean, it took me like a long time to be like, okay, now I see. Now I finally get it.
Yeah.
For that guy Malik, that I like his movies a lot. He keeps doing it to me because his last film had Ben Affleck.
So it scared you.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me.
He's a guy. Same thing, but the movies that I think with Ben Affleck that most people I can name off and they haven't seen them, they're actually really good. Mm-hmm. It's just the movies that people have seen with Ben Affleck are the ones that kind of scare people.
He has this thing he's capable of as an actor. But, I mean, there's just, when he got really huge, there's certain things I guess it was just bad casting or whatever. I mean, not a lot of people would have been able to pull off that crappy superhero movie he did.
No, that movie was doomed.
I don't know. And the thing is, like, in this film that I was worried about, you know, he wasn't the best actor in it, but he was fine. He was actually good in it. And it's funny because this director, he did it to me a long time ago when one of his most famous movies was called Days of Heaven, and I think it's a great classic movie. And who's in it? Richard Gere, who I can't stand. And it's probably my favorite Richard Gere performance. I don't know if it's, you know, if the material I'm enjoying just kind of
overshadows
what it is, or he gets better performances out of actors than some directors. I don't know what, because there are some directors that seem like they can.
Yeah.
Like Tarantino's pretty much never had a bad performance by any actor in one of his films, except you could argue him.
Well,
Quentin Tarantino.
But you can't count Quentin Tarantino.
But there's a few, and then there's classic, awesome, legendary directors like Francis Ford Coppola, who had Keanu Reeves in his movie, and it almost destroyed the entire film because he was so bad in Dracula. So I don't know if it's some directors get performances out of people, some don't, or some actors are just beyond help in certain roles. But it's interesting. Dracula, I found, it still ticks me off to look at Bram Stoker's Dracula because there's so much about that movie I love, and yet to me, Keanu Reeves destroys the entire thing.
That's interesting. I go back to Ben Affleck. Have you seen Hollywoodland?
No.
Oh.
Of course not.
The good flick, man. It's about the guy who played Superman for the TV show.
I heard he was good in that.
Oh yeah, he was. I mean, he did a really good job. And see, again, that's a movie that Ben Affleck's in. Most people, if I ask them if they've seen it, they're like, no. Like, it's really good, and he's good in it. So I mean, he has his moments.
Yeah.
But again, he's a guy I will give the benefit of the doubt sometimes too. Because he doesn't. I don't know. He doesn't bother me as much as he bothers other people. A guy for me, he drives me nuts. Like the minute I hear his name, I'm just like, I don't want to see it. But he also has 3 movies that I absolutely love, and it's Kevin Costner. I'm not a fan, but Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, The Untouchables, love them. And I wanted to see that miniseries he did, the Hatfields and McCoys. I heard that was good. I wanted to check it out, and that's Costner. But I was like, but subject matter sounds better than.
I heard he was pretty good in that.
Yeah, I want to say he won an Emmy, but I could be wrong.
You might not.
But yeah, I mean, anyone else you got? I can hit you with another one if you're thinking.
Go ahead. I hadn't lost it. Go ahead.
He's a guy. He's interesting because I don't hate him. I don't have anything against him. I just, a lot of times, in his movies, he's the same guy. But he'll always surprise me with a few movies, and that's George Clooney. Yeah. Because I hate those Ocean 11 movies, Ocean 12, 13. I've only seen one. It was so bad, I wanted to puke. It bored me to tears. But, I like movies like Out of Sight, The Descendants, Up in the Air.
I like Up in the Air a lot.
Which surprised me, and you and I talked about it. You told me about it, and I was hesitant to watch it because I was like, man, it's Clooney. I'm just tired of his crap. And then I watched it and I was like, damn it, it's good.
I really like. I never thought I would say this back in the days of watching ER. I really like Clooney now. For the most part, I like the stuff he's done in the last 5 years.
I respect him. Like it's a weird give and take. Like I respect. I think he understands the business probably better than most actors, and he understands that you have to do certain movies to get the movie you want made. And I respect him for actually coming out and admitting that. Like a lot of actors won't say stuff like that. You know, they'll support every movie they're in. And he's done movies where he said generally had no interest in, but he said in an interview that sometimes you have to do 3 movies that you really not that interested in to get the one movie you really want made. And I respect him for being honest and saying that.
There's somebody that I used to bring that you mentioned, George Clooney. There's a movie I really like called Out of Sight, and who is in it with him? But Jennifer Lopez.
Exactly.
And they have an awesome chemistry in that movie.
That movie's just.
And she, before she became a singer, she only was doing acting.
Right.
That's how she actually started.
Well, she was dancing first.
Well, yeah. But originally, my impression of her was she was a solid actress.
Right.
Which is funny because with her, it's kind of backwards. I was like, oh, she's pretty good. And now I'm like, I don't really, there's not many films.
I think she was, and
it was good.
Yeah, like, you know, when she started, you know, because you think of like the first couple of movies that people know her for, like the Selena movie, where she was, and I can't remember, the musician. Well, did she? I can't remember her last name. I'm drawing a blank, but you know, Mexican Latino singer, and she played the part about as well as anyone could.
Yeah.
It was really good and got a lot of critical acclaim for it. I think Out of Sight came after that. I could be wrong.
I think it did.
But I think Out of Sight was the next thing, and you know, everything just started happening for her right at that time because that's right when she jumped into her music career, and people even were very excited about her then. And then it's like that minute she started dating Ben Affleck.
I think they ruined each other.
Yeah, like that's like the best thing you could probably say is that they were probably worse for each other.
And she started making these movies like Made in Manhattan, or I don't know. She sort of turned into Katherine Heigl before Katherine Heigl did. Or something.
Yeah.
Because she does have charisma. She is a good actress. Probably, I would say, better than she is a singer.
Yeah, I don't think her musical career is.
I don't know. It's probably not a bold statement. But now it's like, if somebody said, oh, Jennifer Lopez is in this movie, my reaction will be,
I will agree with you.
And a part of that is just her public persona I see too much of and get annoyed by.
I think in her movie career, she probably has way more input than she should. Yeah. And I know a lot of people are like, well, how dare you say that? There are tons of actors that do. That's not always a good thing.
Yeah, sometimes that's good if they know what they're doing.
You know, there's certain actors that you know, they have their hands all over whatever movie they're in, and it works. I mean, there's one guy out there that a lot of people can't stand. I know industry people can't stand him. I like him, but people that hate to work with him, and that's Ed Norton.
Yeah.
You know, but I think most of the movies I've seen that he's in, I like him. But his hands are all over the movie, which drives directors, executives crazy.
What was that movie Salma Hayek got nominated for? Frida?
Okay. When she was Frida Kahlo, the painter.
She got nominated for Best Actress. That's a good movie. And she's dating...
Yeah, we'll be back after these messages. And we're back.
Yeah, Salma Hayek was dating Ed Norton at the time, and they did Frida. And she, there was different script writers, and I guess she had enough pull where she wasn't happy with the screenplay, but Ed Norton came in, and he actually, I can't remember if he's credited or not. I think he is, but he redid a lot of the screenplay. He might have been uncredited, but it's kind of a thing everybody knows. He came in, and I don't know if, I think that might have ticked off some people at the time.
I mean, it's the reason why he's not the Hulk.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because he was supposed to be the Hulk in the Avengers movie, and I know a lot of people got frustrated with him when they made the second Hulk movie, and I think he rewrote and changed things in the script. And Marvel was so annoyed with Ed at the time that they did not want to deal with him for the new movie. So hint that's how Mark Ruffalo came to Hulk. Because a lot of people were disappointed because I thought he was good. I didn't think that I wasn't as impressed with that movie, but I thought he was good at it.
Yeah.
So but I don't think Ed Norton's sad either because I don't think he enjoyed that process as well.
He did American History X.
Own it.
Was he? I wonder if there's any of the same thing with him. Was he too involved with that movie?
Probably. I feel like that.
I feel like I remember hearing some.
That's the rep he gets.
Rumblings or something about that movie. A lot of people say that it's a bad edited film.
I'm not as technical as most people saw it.
So I don't know if it was something with him or not. Maybe not. I remember years ago watching a making of about the Death of the Salesman movie they did with Dustin Hoffman. Well, actually, I watched it in film school, and our teacher pointed out because Dustin Hoffman in the making of documentary, he's not the director of that film, and he keeps directing. Like he's totally overrunning the director and going up to the other actors and saying, "No, you should do it this way or do this way." And the director is just totally back in the background, letting it all happen. And our teacher was like, "This is not a strong director because he's totally letting this guy just run all over him." And Hoffman hasn't directed much anything. He just directed a film, and I want to say it's his first or second thing ever. And all these years he's been around. And somebody asked him, "Oh, why haven't you directed more films?" And he was kind of like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe I will." I'm like, I don't think anybody's been wanting you to, because they know he's had that rep for a while. Though I think other directors, if they're not strong personalities, he's gonna run all over them.
Well, that's like what's the movie that Marlon Brando, Robert De Niro, and Ed Norton are in?
Yeah.
Where Brando just
the score. There was two that came out right at the same time.
I can't remember, but I remember the stories about Brando just totally disrespecting the director.
It was Frank Oz
who did the voice of Miss Piggy, and
Yoda.
he would always refer to him as Miss Piggy, and it got so bad between them that De Niro had to direct all the scenes that Brando was in. That was the only way that Brando would do the movie. So I mean, that story always made me laugh, and I was like, yeah, that's. We talked about this where I think it would be hard. I understand why so many directors like to make independent films and, use certain actors because, they can make the film the way they want to make the film and not become about the actor's ego, which, we were talking about the other day with the Avengers. And I have no proof that had anything to do with someone's ego. I just feel like we've seen it so many times where I think, certain actors seem to care more about the movie and giving a good performance. And then there are others, like Halle Berry, where I need to have X amount of lines, X amount of face time, that kind of thing.
Yeah, just do your job.
I mean, I think I'm always impressed by a big name actor that will take a small role in a movie and even be killed within the first 10 minutes. And you're like, dang, you remember, like Drew Barrymore in Scream.
Yeah.
You remember the fact that she's at the time one of the biggest names in the movie, and she's killed in the first 10 minutes. Spoiler alert.
I was just about to watch that. Dang it.
And people can say, well, look where Drew Barrymore's career was at the time. But still, she was bigger than most of the people in that movie.
Oh, she's the biggest star in that movie.
Yeah. Everybody else was mostly unknown or TV actors.
Yeah.
She was the biggest deal. And all the promos leading up to it, she was, when they had the cast there, she was right there. And you see the movie, you're like, holy shit. Again, spoiler alert. Too late.
And Brando was his own thing.
Yeah.
If he didn't have the reputation of being one of the best actors ever, nobody would have put up with his crap towards the end.
No.
He would supposedly not bother to learn his lines, and the other actors would have his lines on cue cards, like tapes to them. So when he's looking at them, they're doing the overshot, coverage type of filming, he could just stare at the actor across from him and read the lines off the cue cards or the little index cards.
Well, then they said what Brando would do is get with the director, and he would do a couple of lines. And he would do one the classically trained way, and he would just do one just random and ask him which one do you like? And if they couldn't figure out which one was, the classically trained piece that he did, he would just phone it in. It's like, he wouldn't even waste his time.
I heard a story from someone who worked with him back when I was in film school that they did ADR, which is, sometimes you need to go back and fix some audio in a movie, especially if it's a scene where people are really far away.
Right.
But you're still hearing them speak somehow. So you have to go back in and you're in a little recording studio and you're watching a clip of the movie.
Redubbing.
Yeah, and you have to dub your voice in to your own lips moving. And this guy I knew did some ADR with Marlon Brando, and he said Brando loves doing that so much he would purposely screw up on set so he could go in and do the ADR.
Wow.
It's just bizarre to me.
It's interesting when you talk about the cue cards and stuff. There's a movie with Robert Downey Jr. and this, I think it was shot during the time he was going through his rehab and jail time. And I think it's A Scanner Darkly, which is a movie that he's in, Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, Woody Harrelson. It's a good movie if you ever get a chance to see it. And, it's one of those ones that I think if I'm not mistaken, they shot and then went back and animated it. So I mean, it's got a funky little feel to it, and don't quote me on that, but I think that's how they did it.
I believe you're right.
But there's a lot of scenes, and they talk about it, where Robert Downey Jr. couldn't remember his lines, so he had Post-its everywhere. And there's a scene where he has a notebook and he's talking to the police and he's reading stuff that he had written in a notebook, and you can see the Post-its.
Really?
Yeah. You can literally see the Post-its as he's turning the pages, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Seems like they could have penciled that, erased it, or something.
Well, it's kind of cool because if you had no idea of that story, you would have no idea. You would just assume because of the way his character was. It was a guy who rambled a lot. He was usually stoned out of his mind and he rambled. So you thought that was like part of his random thoughts, that he had all these sticky notes everywhere. So it's kind of cool. People don't know it until after the fact. And I didn't know it when I saw it, but when people told me or when I read the article, and I was like, oh, I remember seeing those little, red, white, and blue tabs in his notebook. And I was like, darn it. I wish I would have questioned it then, but I mean, that's a cool little fun fact.
I love that kind of stuff. I hear little things in movies that you didn't know are pretty cool.
Yeah. Any other actors, actresses that's in movies, and you're like, yeah, it's actually pretty good. Katherine Heigl.
Katherine Heigl, yeah. I almost thought it was too easy, but it's true.
I mean, but is there any of her movies that you like? Yeah.
I can't think of one.
See, and that's the thing. I just threw it out there because
the closest I would say would be Knocked Up, but I still didn't even really like that.
Yeah.
And she actually has that same reputation as being really hard to work with.
Yeah, people generally can't stand her.
I think she burned a lot of bridges on Grey's Anatomy.
She burned a lot of bridges and Knocked Up.
Did she?
Oh yeah, because she trashed the movie after it came up. I mean, after they finished shooting it, and she's doing an interview, and she's kind of trashing the movie. But, the movie became successful, and, of course, I think her views kind of softened.
Yeah.
But, she wasn't all that positive about the experience, or even about the movie. But, her track record kind of tells you probably more her.
I think so.
Now,
do you have any other?
I'm trying to think. Because I know that those were ones that would always get me. Sometimes I think Julia Roberts is one where if she's in a movie, I will go, oh. But I've seen a few in which I was like, oh, maybe she isn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, she's just, I don't know. She can get a little, overexposed is the word.
Probably. I mean, it's not that I think she's a bad actress or anything. It's just there is a series of her movies that make my eyes roll, like the one that every woman flipped out about, the Richard Gere movie.
Pretty well.
Yes. And then Runaway Bride.
Yeah, it was like a series kind of.
It was my best friend's wedding.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Cameron Diaz?
I think, yeah.
It was those movies like that. Was where I was like, she had become Mrs. Romantic Comedy.
I guess it was Meg Ryan, it was Julia Roberts, it was Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl.
I think. Did you ever see Four Christmases?
Yeah. Another Jennifer Aniston.
No. That's Vince Vaughn, Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I did. Yeah.
See, I like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think it. I think critics hated it, and most people hated it. I was like, it's actually kind of funny.
It has its moments.
Yeah, especially when she's like in the bouncy castle taking on the kids,
Yeah.
or when Vince Vaughn has to wrestle his brothers and nephews. It's freaking hilarious.
I like Vince Vaughn a lot.
Of course, he's a man.
I think he elevates a lot of
Bad stuff.
bad movies.
Yeah, he's a man. He's another actor. When we were talking about on our last podcast, actors that you want to put in your movies, he'd be another guy.
Yeah, I was like,
Because you can do whatever with Vince Vaughn,
he's a decent enough dramatic actor. I wish he'd do more of it,
right?
but
There's no one else that kind of.
I'm sure there are. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I guess not too many people.
Who are there any comedians that have surprised you with their acting ability?
I think this might not even be a surprising statement anymore, I guess. But I think Steve Martin is about as good an actor.
Yeah.
Even because he can do dramatic roles, and he did.
I mean, he's no Eddie Murphy.
No, he's not.
Just kidding, folks. Yeah.
He played a villain in oh man, I want to say it was a David Mamet movie, but now I have to look it up. But he was the villain in the movie, and he was really good. I don't know that when he was starting out with the erythrocyte, anybody assumed he'd be. He's just one of those people that's so talented. I mean, right now he's touring around with Edie Brickell, and they're just playing like bluegrass type music.
It's amazing.
And he's actually coming to Greensboro soon, and I wish I could see him, but tickets a little higher than.
He does so much. He's an author.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the one book he wrote and then the movie,
Really good.
Shop Girl. I totally enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. He's done 2 or 3 books. It's just one of those people that whatever he wants to do.
He can write. You feel like Steve Martin can write his own ticket.
And some of the stuff he writes is really deep, actually, and really romantic. Like some of the most romantic lines I've ever read were from a Steve Martin book. But what else? I don't know. I mean, Robin Williams, when he feels like it, is a good actor.
Yeah, it's whenever he's in the mood. So you're saying, the classic piece like RV?
And I know people maybe it's too easy to say why would you do that movie.
No,
I mean, maybe somewhere along the lines he thought it would be better than.
I get it.
Or maybe it was just well, I'm getting paid.
It's easy. It's so easy to make fun of people for doing certain movies and stuff like that. Because I get it. I'm sorry if you're gonna offer me a bunch of money to do a role, and the tough thing is like we as regular people think, how could he do a movie like that? But you gotta think though, there's times as an actor where you go months, years without getting a role. So sometimes you gotta do something just to keep your name out there, just so people don't forget about you. Yeah. And what we don't know is that might have been the only movie he was offered in that period. Mm-hmm. I mean, man's got to work.
I know somebody said what it wants is actors act, and above anything, they want to be working.
Right.
So I guess that's true even when you're. I think the Daniel Day-Lewises of the world are really rare.
Yeah.
So he'll do a movie like every 5 years.
Yeah.
That's really strange in a way.
Well, it probably tells you a lot more about him that maybe, he's more, comfortable who he is and maybe financially, maybe he lives well within his means and, because certain actors, they have a very expensive lifestyle. So they got to keep working to keep up that lifestyle that they want to have. I know that sounds very materialistic, but it is what it is.
I mean, with Nicolas Cage, you make all these movies
there you go.
If he wasn't bankrupt or close to it and had all these houses foreclosed and everything.
I think that's why the Michael Caine quote is one of the best. It's like sometimes you got to make a boat payment.
Well, and somebody said the same thing about Steve Martin. It said he does a lot of quality work. When you can tell his name's really all over it, it's usually pretty good. Like the LA Story and even Bowfinger, which I like.
Yeah, I liked it.
Roxanne and some of those things where he's just shot girl, where he's totally it's a Steve Martin film pretty much in every way. But then, and I can't remember who said it, because you're thinking, why does he make some of these really bad movies? And so Steve Martin has one of the most extensive private art collections of like anyone in the world. And one of his friends said, "Hey, he needs to pay for a painting."
There you go. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and a lot of times, like, I think when people say that, you know, how can they do that movie? Sometimes you got to keep your name out there. Just, you know, because Hollywood's a funny business. If you fall off the map for any reason, if you say I'm taking a break could be one of the worst things you could ever do in that business. Because people forget about you. It's hard to get it back. Because I feel like that's probably what happened to Kate Hudson. You know,
yeah, first she did.
Exactly. But I mean, she didn't take a break. She, you know, had kids and got married. Didn't she get married to the guy, the lead singer that went back? No. Blah blah blah. I'm trying to blank again. English dude. He has. I can think of the name. Muse is the name of the band.
Yeah, I think you're right. She was married to the lead singer in Blackbird.
Yeah, and you know they had a kid. But you know. They were together, and you know she, he got married, had a kid. Maybe not in that order. I'm pretty sure it wasn't in that order. Not that it matters, but the time that she was away, she got passed by other actresses, like and I'd say probably better actors like Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
And she's been trying to get it back. That's the way I feel. I could be wrong. Trying to get it back, and it's not happening. She started doing Glee. Why would Kate Hudson do Glee? I mean, I know actors sometimes really like certain shows and they'll offer themselves up, but it just kind of felt like I need to get back in the game. And I just remember thinking, like, I guess, what was that movie that she did with Anne Hathaway? It was like Bride Wars or something like that. Yeah. And Anne Hathaway kind of apologized for doing it. It was just one of those movies that you're like, what is she? And that's probably like the last Kate Hudson movie I can think of that came out. I'm sure there are others, but
yeah, but I can't think of them.
But there was that time where she was Miss Romantic Comedy.
Matthew McConaughey movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She did one.
Oh, dude! I just remember when she was in the movie Dane Cook.
Wow, is that recently?
When Dane was still kind of hot. It was probably 2008, maybe. That My Best Friend's Girl.
I know what you're talking about.
Ouch.
You shouldn't have to wear yourself out like that.
Again, Dane Cook could buy and sell us over again. But dang, Kate Hudson. Sometimes you gotta know.
Anything else? We're wrapping it up? Or?
I figure we probably wrap this one up. Call it a day. Weekend. Something. We'll be back. Can't stop, won't stop.
I think we might have guests next time.
I can't wait.
That'll be exciting.
Can't wait. All right, Pete, we outie.